So today we're going to be putting together the first of 4 all new cards for a variety of occasions. We're calling it the All Occasions cards. And in this case, in this video, we're doing a birthday card that would be suitable for anybody at any age. And the best thing is that it will go together quick. So if you need a card quickly and you don't want to run out, you want to make one, this is exactly what you're looking for. So let's take a look at it and see how easy it is. Now I've kind of pre-pieced some things because, as I mentioned before, when I do these videos, it's my first time doing them as well after getting them from my amazing team. So I just kind of laid them out and made sure that I knew what I was doing. So here is our card base, and I obviously want to simply fold it in half. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece that has these little teardrops cut into it. Well, they're not teardrops, they're reflections from balloons that we'll be placing on here. And we're going to glue this to the front of our card. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get that in place. And this card is actually very simple. Once we get this in place, we'll be putting our little balloons on there and then quote unquote baking a cake, which is simply a little paper piecing sort of project, nothing dimensional or crazy or difficult. So go ahead and place that down onto the base of the front of the card, the front of the card base, I should say, and just make sure that you've got it nice and aligned and give that a press. Okay, and of course you can make this any color you want. So if you're doing it for a girlfriend or your mom or a female, obviously you can pick some nice feminine colors. If you're making it for a young boy or a young girl, just pick out suitable colors for that specific person. Okay, so we've got that on there, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. Now you'll notice that there is a little, there's some little guides there for a circle. That's basically the little glowing part of the candle that's going to go on top of our cake. And we have ours cut out of a gold foil, and all you want to do is simply place it right within those little guides there. And that is actually going to help us position the cake once all's said and done. Okay, so we have 4 balloons, 2 full balloons, and then a couple that are cut off because they're right at the very edge of our card. And we want to get those into place. So this one's going to go here. And when you place this down, you simply want to make sure that you align it with the little cutout there so that we have a little white reflection showing through instead of a black. Okay, let's get our other one in place here. And I'm being very sparse with the glue here. We don't need a lot to hold these in place, so don't overdo it, especially if you're using a black piece of paper like I am. The glue, if you kind of smudge it, tends to show up a lot more on black than it does pretty much any other color. Okay, so this little piece here, there's 2 balloons that are cut off. Okay, just take a look and make sure that you pick the right one and put the right one in the right place. Okay, this one's going to go over here, and you want to simply line it up with the little cutout, and also just make sure that it's kind of following the natural curve of the top of your card, just like that. Okay, and the last little balloon. So that's our base layer, and then we simply just need to construct the cake, which again is pretty straightforward. So place that in the right spot, make sure that it's kind of being continuous with this little black piece. Okay, so there we go, there we have it. So far so good. And now we're actually going to take our cake and we're going to pop dot it onto the card once it's all said and done. Now we do have a little purple piece that's going to go down here. That is not going to be pop dotted, that is going to be flat. Now of course you can, you don't have to pop dot the cake if you don't want, but it would kind of look cool and give this card a little added dimension, because it is, for the most part, not really a novelty card. It's not like a pop-up or a bendy card or anything crazy like that, but it's still cool. And we may as well do some pop dotting to give it a little extra something. Okay, so there's the base. And now we can move on over to our cake. Here is the base of my cake. And I'm gonna start at the bottom and just work my way up. So the bottom is made up of these two layers. And when we kind of join everything together, it's gonna create what kind of looks like a frosting, decorative little frosting piece for the cake. Okay, so let's get our glue right on there. And this piece here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the very bottom of the cake as a guide for our placement. So you wanna make sure that that's nice and flush at the bottom, and that it lines up with what I'll call the shadow of the cake, kind of like the canvas. So just make sure that that lines up nicely. And then we're gonna move on to this piece here. And this piece here, you wanna make sure that you can see this little edge here. That is going to line up there, and then this little part here, you can see how it kind of is curved and then it goes straight. You've got that same part right here, so you just wanna make sure that you got that lined up correctly. And then, of course, you'll end up with that little feature there in the center. And boy, is it a hot one in Chicago today. It was probably at least 100 degrees, and I need to get a fan in here. I actually bought one. I forgot that. I forgot how hot it gets in here. Okay, so get that lined up like so. There we go, just like that. You'll notice that I'm not even doing any inking to this. It's a fairly graphic sort of card. Okay, so next up, well, I said we were going to start at the bottom, so let's do that. I've got this little curved scalloped piece. That's going to go at the very base of our cake as well. So get some glue on there and just line it up with the very bottom. Make sure it's nice and flush there at the bottom. And Diana, well, Ron created a great design for this. I love how it's a 3-tiered cake, and it's a little, it's not just plain, ordinary, straight up and down. So I love the design, but Diana actually, when she engineered it based on Ron's sketch, she tried to make it so that you had to use as little paper as possible for all these pieces. And I think that's really a time saver, and well, it's also a resource saver. Okay, so I've got my glue on this piece here, and this is just going to go flush with the very top of that piece. Let me make sure that I've got it nice and aligned. You would think that with all the humidity that the glue would not set so quickly, but there we go. Okay, so there's our first layer of our cake, and we can simply move on to the next layer here. And that's this layer here. Okay, and what we're going to do, you'll notice that it's kind of wider on one side and it gets skinnier on the other side. The wider part is going to be on your left-hand side. Okay, and it's going to go right there. Okay, so let's get our glue on here. I'm sitting under about 1,800 watts of lights right now, and boy, am I sweating. I gotta get my fan out here for the next few videos. Okay, so we're just gonna line that up like so. And you can see how there's a straight part here and a straight part here on both sides. You just wanna make sure that you get that lined up. Okay, and then we've got this little funky looking piece here with our little dots cut out, and that's just going to go right on top of that piece that we already glued into place. So get your glue on there, and I think maybe part of this is my bottle's not putting out a bunch of glue. That's okay, we'll make it work. Okay, so just get that lined up as accurately as you can over that part and press that into place. Pardon my head there. Here we go. Okay, there we go. And finally, our last little tier here. I've got this purple part. Now the weird little, it kind of looks like Halloween slime to me, but it's just the actual cake, and then the negative part of that is the little frosting part. So you want the shorter part at the bottom. It's almost like a reverse scallop. So we want that at the bottom. And these also have some edges there, or I'm sorry, yeah, some straight edges on both sides. And that's going to help you get that properly aligned as well. So just find those straight edges there on the actual cake shadow or the canvas, the white part, and just get that lined up. And then we've got these three little pieces here, and I may just break out the pick-me-up tool to help me with the smaller one. I'm gonna throw a little bit of glue, and my bottle is kind of clogged here. I'm gonna throw a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper, and I'll grab my first little piece here, and I will just kind of run that into the glue and kind of wipe some of it off so I don't get too much. Okay, and this one is going to go right here. If you need to, take a look at the final photo on our website for help with placement of these pieces if it's not completely 100% visible in the video. It should be, but just in case, you've always got a photo that you can rely on. Okay, there we go. Here's the second piece, and that is going to go, where is it? There it goes. I had it upside down. And it's going to go right here. Make sure you get that right in the right spot. Whoops. Let me take a look at that. There we go. It's kind of like the top layer is a bit of a striped cake. Okay, and then we've got one more little piece that we need to put on that top layer. Let's get our glue on there. Not too much, but just enough. There we go. And that guy is going to go right here. And give that a little scoot. There we go. Okay. All right, so that just leaves our little candle. And you know what, this one's big enough for me to just use my hands, so that's fine. We'll just throw a couple little dots of glue on here. And that wasn't necessary, a little. Okay, so you want to just match that up with the white part that's on the shadow part of our cake. And just give that a press. And then we've got a little bit of frosting on that layer as well. I'm going to use my pick-me-up tool for that. And there we go. That should be plenty. And that's going to go right at the top of this piece, just below the flame. Just like that. Okay. So there's our cake. Very simple to assemble. Really cool looking too. And now it's just a matter of taking and putting some foam squares on the back of this. I'm probably gonna not put any right on the candle because I don't want them to be visible. And I think that will do. I think 5 of these should be more than enough. I'll peel the backing off of these and we'll just pop it right on there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the little gold part, the back of the candle that's kind of glowing, as our guide. So we want to place this so that the candle is centered with that. So I'm going to actually press this down and hold it, and then you can kind of, sway it back and forth to determine what looks centered to you. And I'm going to keep this candle a little bit lower Don't want it completely centered. And that about does it. Okay, so there you have it. There is your card, super quick and plenty of room for a stamp, journaling, your message, nice little signature, and that's it. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without an envelope, so I have that here in front of me. Now you'll notice, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, this is the scored version of it with the perforated lines. I always tell you guys that I really enjoy the capabilities of the machines that can score for things like envelopes. Now, the card base here is actually perforated. What I did was I took my Silhouette scraper and I just kind of ran it along the edge here to flatten those perforations out, and they're not even visible. And it folds more accurately. Okay, so our envelope is made up of, well, the envelope itself, and then we've got this one little panel here that is just a decorative panel that is going to add some color to the flap. So what you're going to want to do is take your glue and you want to hit these little areas here in between in the center to make sure that that stays put. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece now and I'm going to put glue around the perimeter of this piece. Okay, so it's kind of like a double glue job there. And then we'll pop that right into place. You want to stick it right on the back and try to maintain a nice even border all the way around this piece. Okay, very simple. And then we just need to fold the side flaps in and then fold this up. But before we do, obviously you got to throw a little bit of glue on there. Just a nice thin line of glue. Should hold it. And fold that over and then just press down. Actually, you can probably push this way so that you're forcing the glue outward a little bit. Okay, and there's your envelope. Very simple. Ready for your card, ready for your party, ready for whatever occasion, whose ever birthday you're going to, and you can see how nicely that fits in there. But do take a look at the final photo of this card, because I'm going to be adorning it with some embellishment, maybe some pearls, just to kind of give it a little bit more dimension too. And I'm going to put this one in my stash for an upcoming birthday. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That lets me know that you enjoy crafting with me. And if you make this or any of the cards, or any of our projects for that matter, we'd love to see them. So join us in the official group on Facebook by heading over to your Facebook, and at the top in the search box, do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, where you can join myself and the, I believe, 13,500 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So thanks again for hanging out with me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.